Hi there, welcome to the channel. Thanks a lot. I just wanted to react to a deluge of former players and commentators who are coming out now and criticising United tactically. This is something that me and Ryan from In the Red have spoke about for weeks and weeks and weeks now. United's tactical sort of weaknesses and deficiencies. And even after the transfer window closed, and you can clip us up, you'll see that we said that United have got a number of tactical weaknesses. And actually, you've got people like Rio Ferdinand coming out now saying that looks like the team's just been thrown together. Is the manager giving the players the right information? And actually, it's a little bit disingenuous that this just falls on Solskjaer's head, because the central question you need to ask is this: why didn't Manchester United buy a midfielder or two midfielders in the summer? Right? Why didn't they do that? Did they try to buy somebody? Did they have an issue with finding the right the right personnel? Regardless of what anybody says, this team doesn't have the ability to win the league. So technically speaking, as a squad, City, Chelsea, and Liverpool have got better teams than United. So why would you expect United to win the league? Why would you expect United to win the league? Obviously, we've got a live chat there from 3W4Z 3B1. He said, did not switch Donny as well to try him, really. I think that's obviously a lot of fans are saying that Van der Beek was bought with a big reputation, with a big pedigree. He did an amazing job in that Ajax team that got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Probably shouldn't have got knocked out by Tottenham. And you had obviously De Ligt, De Jong and Van der Beek were really the three standout players. Why hasn't Van der Beek been given a chance? I think the issue lies in the following. When United bought Donny van der Beek, they were 99% certain Paul Pogba was going to leave United. Then COVID hit, and the number of teams that could afford Pogba's wages and a transfer fee shrunk from about 3 teams to 0. And as a result, nobody's been willing to buy Pogba, and Pogba may stay now. So Van der Beek essentially played in the number 10 position for Ajax, and he was exceptional, actually. He played a very similar style to Thomas Muller at Munich, where he was arriving in the box late. He's a goal threat. He's got great spatial awareness. He's got that Ajax education of having the tactical knowledge, but the actual place that United don't need players is at number 10, because you have Bruno, who's undroppable. Pogba's a number 10. Then you have Lingard, you have Mata, you have a deluge of number 10s. So essentially, United, due to a lack of planning, saw that Real Madrid wanted to buy Van der Beek and probably thought, okay, we'll buy Van der Beek. And they did. And he's not played. And you can't say that Van der Beek has failed at United, because he's not had a chance at United. So Van der Beek's one example of the dysfunction of the Manchester United transfer policy, and also the fact that football is about the team. It's about the team. The team has to function properly, and the team don't function properly. And that's not on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You bring any manager now to United and you don't sign any players, and they won't be able to finish better than second. They finished second with these players. Admittedly, Chelsea had a transition and Liverpool had a lot of injuries, but they still finished second. And for a short while, they were challenging City. Obviously, City are a much better squad, much deeper squad, much better ability. So I think tactically, the notion that someone can come to United and just outwit City and Liverpool, you might be able to win a cup, you might be able to win one league, but you're not going to dominate, And we've got another chat here. I understand 100%. What you're saying is right. It's stupid from the Dutch national team not to take him all the time. Then he could show something this way. His talent has gone to waste. Yeah, it's probably a lesson. It's probably a lesson to young players, actually. Like, don't just sign for a big club. Sign for a club where you're going to play. And actually, quite famously, Erling Haaland could have signed for Manchester United, but decided to go and sign for Borussia Dortmund. Jude Bellingham could have signed for Manchester United. He signed for Dortmund. Jadon Sancho, United tried to buy him from Man City. He went to Dortmund. So in a way, when you've played in Holland, or you've played in, say, the Championship, or you've played in like a non-elite club. I mean, I'm not saying that Ajax aren't an elite club. You need to watch how and where you're going to move, because you really need to play. Because Van der Beek was a highly rated player, and his stock has plummeted. And I've got no doubt in my mind, if he goes and signs for Everton, if he goes to Italy, if he goes to Spain, whatever, then he will basically thrive. There's absolutely no doubt about it that Van der Beek is going to thrive, and he will do, a great job, in another sort of team, because he's got the ability. So, yeah, I think that's just one symptom of it, but you need to look in terms of the recruitment over summer. Like, they bought Ronaldo, and I still think that buying Ronaldo was the right thing to do. For 12 million, you can't not buy Ronaldo, but you have to supplement Ronaldo with a deep lying midfielder that can pass the ball. They also wanted to buy a right back. Trippier, they didn't buy them. And I'm not saying that, like, you should, sort of spend 25, 30 million pounds on Trippier. But what I'm saying is that the squad, the team isn't functional. What did Chelsea do? They won the European Cup, right? They won the European Cup, and they weren't happy with Werner. He wasn't enough, even though they won the European Cup. They basically spent 100 million pounds on Lukaku, who's 28, 29 years of age, right? So that's a club that wants to move up a level. That was a glaring tactical weakness in their team, and they fixed it, right? United have a glaring weakness in midfield. It's the personnel. It's nothing to do with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So look at City when Guardiola came there. Finished fifth in the first season, right? He needed some fullbacks. He didn't sell, he released 4 fullbacks, and then he went and spent 140 million pounds on 3 fullbacks. The 140 million pounds that they spent would be the equivalent now of spending about 250 million pounds. And then they resolved that tactical weakness they had, the inability against a low block, and they had great fullbacks that really could attack. And this is the difference. So all these ex-players slagging off Solskjaer, saying, "Oh, Solskjaer this," he finished second last season. The club hasn't pushed forward. We needed a right winger, we needed a centre-back, we needed a midfielder, and we needed a right-back. They bought 2 of those 4, and the lack of a midfielder is really costing us. So what do you think in the comments? Do you think that should be on Solskjaer, or do you think that he should have found a tactical solution? One thing I will say is that I feel like it was really naive to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool. Me and Ryan touched upon it in our podcast, which is just uploading at the moment, that to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, with Salah in form, Liverpool looking hard to beat, it was really, really naive. They really should have either packed the midfield, or they should have actually played 5 at the back and attempted to be more difficult to beat. Technically, right, I don't just want to say this, but Liverpool passed through United. They passed through United without any real effort. Now, they've won 5-0, so it sounds like I'm just being bitter and saying, oh, Liverpool are rubbish. Like, they're not. They are one of the top 3 teams in the world, Liverpool, make no mistake. And Klopp's an outstanding manager, but they didn't really have to play that well. They passed the ball through United and they got onto goal, but That's been happening when United played Leeds, Atalanta, Newcastle, Leicester. It's just that Liverpool had the players to punish them, you know? So let's have a look at the comments. He could only switch maybe Morbro. He seems to be liking McTominay of Fred only in the middle and Bruno in front. This feeds into a tactical thing. People keep saying that Pogba and Bruno are midfielders. They're not. They're number 10s, right? Pogba is a world-class attacking midfielder, but he's not a world-class midfielder. There's a difference. He can't tackle. He gets stuck on the ball, and it's not his game. So essentially, you really only have three options: Fred, McTominay, and Matic. Matic is the best footballer by far out of those three, but Matic is old and he's not fast enough. So essentially, Ollie's selecting Fred and McTominay. He's got two options. One is to play just a 6 and then play two attacking midfielders. The other is to play two in the base of the midfield, Fred and McTominay, and to play one attacking midfielders. So he really doesn't have a choice, because forget about the quality of the players. He doesn't have like loads of different options. Look at City, look at Paris Saint-Germain, look at even Liverpool to a lesser extent. Oh, no, Chelsea's a better example. They've got a number of players in the midfield they can rotate, and a number of players that are different. They can play in different ways. United have got three midfielders. Matic really shouldn't be there, right? I like Matic. He's been a good player for United, but he shouldn't be there. So you really have a situation where you need to either change the system, or you need to find a solution, which is generally going to be in the transfer market, and to improve the base of the midfield. Liverpool is shite. Yes, I agree with that. It was painful on Sunday. Good comment, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously here they're saying, like, in the comments, Declan Rice or De Jong have been mentioned. And to be honest with you, De Jong and Declan Rice are the type of midfielders United need. And it might not even be Declan Rice. They may need a midfielder more like De Jong, someone that relies upon positional sense as a 6 and to just a playmaker who can take the ball from the defense and play make. Now, if you watch Fred on television, you won't be able to see this, but if you watch Fred in the stadium very closely, he never ever comes to receive the ball from the back four. He runs away. And the reason why he runs away is because he doesn't have the ability to take the ball on the half turn and to pass the ball into the number 10 or into the strikers. He basically doesn't have that awareness or that ability. So you need to go and buy a midfielder or two that can sit in the 6th position and pass the ball. Now, I don't scout players, so I don't know who the best midfielder to buy is. But obviously this is something which they look at. I only know that the problem is a glaring problem that the other option you have is to completely change the midfield, right? And play 3 in midfield, Fred, McTominay and Matic, and then play 3 attackers and 4 defenders and have a very workmanlike midfield. But if you look at that, then you've basically got to drop about 7 players, 6 players, because you've got Ronaldo, Martial, even Ahmad, Sancho, Rashford, Cavani, Alanga, Mata, Pogba, Bruno, Jesse Lingard. There's 11 players who have to play into those 3 positions. So short term, maybe that's something that United need to do. The other widely discussed thing, and myself and Ryan discussed it on the podcast, is to play 5 at the back. And I said that United need to be really difficult to beat. And if you play 5 at the back and you have a really strong defensive base and you try to build from there and maybe play direct balls, you might be a bit more difficult to play through, because I'll reiterate the point. United have been like smashed. Like, we beat Wolves 1-0, 80th minute strike by Greenwood. But for the woodwork and David De Gea, you would have lost that game 3-1. We were lucky. So the performances have to improve, and I think we need to go back to being difficult to beat. What do you think anyway? Tell me in the comments what your view is. How do you find a tactical solution to these issues? And I'd be interested to see anything in the comments and any sort of discussions in how short term, Ollie can do this, because make no mistake about it, Ollie's clinging on here. Ollie's clinging on to his job, right? He's extraordinarily close to being sacked. Extraordinarily close to being sacked, and I'm surprised he's not sacked. I have it on good authority that he was like that close to being sacked, and he may still. Any negative result against Tottenham, he's definitely sacked. The clock's ticking, so he needs to win the next 3 or 4 games. You're talking Tottenham, you're talking Atalanta, and then you're talking on the 6th of November against Man City. So you've got 3 games against some pretty good teams, especially City, and there's no chance that he's going to make it to that City game if he loses either of those matches, or if there's another woeful performance, or if there's a big defeat. Now let's have a look at the comments. Maybe go 5 in the back line, but it will exactly. So if you go 5 at the back, you waste Rashford and Sancho, and that's it. There has to be, United need to play 3 or 4 up there, because that's where their strength is. Just need to find a solution in terms of feeding those players. And for me, Rashford's been a bit unlucky. I don't think Sancho's been a bit unlucky. I don't think he's deserved to be on the bench. You buy a right winger to play against low blocks and to stretch teams at home, and you don't play him. It's a bizarre decision, unless he's unfit, unless he's acclimatizing, unless he's got some personal problems that we don't know. Because one thing I will say about football fans, we're not on the training ground. We don't know if a player's gone on strike, if they've got mental health problems, if a member of their family's ill, if they've not slept properly, if they've got niggling injuries, if they've been ill and they're taking some time. So I'm not going to judge. There must be a good reason why Sancho's not played. But for me, fully fit and on form, Sancho's got to play on the right wing, because he's by far he's the only winger we really have. Rashford's not really a winger. So yeah, that's the question. When is Varane back? Do you know? I'm actually not sure. When he was injured, it said it was going to be 2 or 3 weeks. There's not been any update, and actually, we could do with him coming back. I like Lindelof. He tries hard, but he's not good enough. United were linked to Jules Koundé from Sevilla, and I would have loved to have got him. The only reservation about Koundé is he's only 5'9". For people who don't live in England, I don't know what that is in centimetres, but it's probably about 170 centimetres, maybe less, 5.9. So for a central defender, it's going to be difficult for him in England, but he's a top defender. But when you've got backups behind Maguire and Varane of Bailly, Lindelof, Jones, you're in trouble. They're not of a requisite quality. And I really think Lindelof struggles against physical players. You can roll him. You saw Zapata do that for Atalanta. He's an easy target. If you scouted United and he was playing, you target him. You just say, go and stand near him. So, yeah, I'm not too sure when Varane's back. Hopefully soon. Rashford, Sancho and Greenwood is the future. But I don't think Ollie even has a week. This is like the mafia. This is like owing the mafia 100,000 euros, and the mafia say you've got 1 week to pay. The Glazier mafia are coming, so you can't wait. He needs players to win now. So yeah, I think Sancho, Rashford, Greenwood is a great front three. But obviously United keep getting linked with Haaland and with Solskjaer. Maybe Solskjaer will stay and They'll buy Haaland, a fellow Norwegian. Maybe United won't deal with Raiola. So I feel like potentially you can have Greenwood maybe in rotation with Haaland, but we'll have to see what happens. It looks like Haaland's going to have a pick of every club in Europe. Yeah, we need a 5-0 against Spurs. Yeah, we do. We need any type of win, any type of win. You just need it, because actually we are going down the Premier League now. So if you look at the table, we've actually been lucky so far to even be in this position. And so we're currently 7th in the Premier League. We've got 14 points. Chelsea at the top with 22 points. So we're basically 8 points behind Chelsea, 7 points behind Liverpool, 6 points behind City. And then West Ham are 3 points in front of us in 4th place with 17 points. But of those 14 points, United, you can probably say we're lucky to get about 6 of them. So they really should be down the bottom of the league. They've had last-minute goals against West Ham and a penalty save. They had an 80th minute strike against Wolves. I'm trying to refresh my memory of some of the other games that I've erased from my memory. Obviously, you had a 1-1 draw at home to Everton. Everton scored in the last sort of 5 minutes, and the goal was ruled out by VAR, and Everton played really well in that game. So anyway, let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Please comment in the comments below. Do you think that a lot of the criticism in terms of the dysfunctional team lie on Ole as the manager, or do you think it's the transfer policy, or do you think it's the lack of a midfielder, or do you think that I'm actually just defending him too much? So look, so the better for feeling you go against, and City still can turn the negativity. Just the hate is unreal. No human being can deal with it without losing. Yeah, man, exactly. Like it's true. Like the level of media attention, the level of hatred. Like Solskjaer's gonna have to have thick skin to deal with this. And yeah, it looks like it's gone too far. Like Ryan said it on the podcast, that this has gone too far. Even if he's not sacked now, this is the opening salvo of him being sacked. And the toxicity and the negativity is something that the Glazier family are really concerned about. They are concerned about social media comments. They're concerned about the image of the club insofar as that they want to financialize and monetize it. And that's why they reacted to the European Super League backlash, and they reacted to the fans storming the stadium against Liverpool last season. So yeah, huge amounts of negativity, huge pressure on Solskjaer. If he still has the job by Christmas Day, then he should rename himself Houdini, and I don't think he will. But if he does get out of this situation, it'll be unbelievable. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me. Please comment in the comment section, and I appreciate your time watching, and I wish you a great day. Thanks a lot.